market, there's the credit markets. I think there are strong signs. I can walk you through data showing the credit markets improving. The equity markets, we purchase equity. The equity markets are struggling.
You purchased a debt instrument.
Well, it's Tier 1 capital, Congressman.
You know, we can go ring around the rosy here, but you're here today because Congress is feeling that you played a bait-and-switch game, and you're not convincing anyone that you haven't. But let's just try to go to the fundamentals. You bought preferred stock.
Yes, sir.
Preferred stock is a debt instrument. You're capitalizing the company, but you're capitalizing with a debt instrument. Those instruments trade. I have BB&T. I have, I have a number of debt instruments of that sort. They have, in fact, appreciated from the time you bought till today in various portfolios. So I'm looking at those, and I'm following a lot more of those kinds of instruments. They have appreciated. So my question to you today, under oath, as someone who should know about this, is, are your purchases above par today, in your opinion?
Candidly, Congressman, I don't know. We have independent valuation firms that are going to provide regular reporting on the current value.
Regular reporting starting when? You're here today. Do you have any regular reporting from the day you bought them till today?
We've published the reports to the Treasury website within 48 hours of completing the transactions on the terms, and then right now we're in the process. Just yesterday, the equity asset manager solicitations concluded, and we've received, I think, hundreds of proposals. We'll be engaging the equity asset managers who will be providing us the valuation services and the reporting to the Congress on a go-forward basis.
Well, wouldn't it be reasonable for us to believe here today that if, in fact, you have improved the market, that those assets that you purchase, we'll call them equity since they're a hybrid, have appreciated?
I think they'd be reasonable relative to the day that we bought them.
Okay,
I think
so if we find out on the next report, which I hope is forthcoming, and we will be looking for it, that they are below par, then in fact you paid too much, right?
Well, again, it depends, Congressman, what our objective was. Our objective was to create a program that would encourage thousands of banks across our country to voluntarily apply and to use the capital. And so we intentionally made it attractive for them to want to apply.
So you believe here today that you had authority to subsidize banks, including providing them this capital at a below par, a below fair market, of a market that should have existed but didn't exist?
Well, Congressman, as you know, the market when we did this there was no market. Most banks couldn't raise private capital.
Yeah, but we're in a better market today. You understand, one of the reasons for the question is you've thrown $350 billion, including AIG and so on, out there. You're coming back for another $350 billion. If, in fact, what we discover, and I believe here today, is that your $350 billion, and let's just look at $250 billion, we'll leave AIG, which is a whole nother can of worms, aside. If that money, in fact, is a subsidy arriving at a price below the fair market price, thus causing banks to choose you, including banks in my district, choose you instead of other capital, all you've really done is give them a discount capital. Now, the reason I ask that is, how large is the capital base necessary for the banking industry in America? Do you have any idea? Isn't it about $55 trillion, plus or minus?
In terms of assets or capital?
The size of the market, if you will.
That sounds about right. I don't have the numbers on my fingertips.
So you'd have to put several $1 trillion in to be the owner, if you will, of that base.
Of all the capital.
Even with the multiple. So the reason I'm asking all this, and I know I've got to yield back I've extended my time, and just follow up one last time. If all you're doing is moving your money in at a discount to banks and entities like American Express and GMAC and everybody else who's rushing to become a bank holding company today as a result of this deal, then at the end of the day, we will have bought stock at too high a price or debt at too low an interest rate, however you want to look at these preferred instruments, and we will have moved people to other capital where they can get the returns they want because you're competing at a price that the market wouldn't accept the loans. You're giving them a deal that distorts the market. Isn't that true based on your background at Goldman?
Well, Congressman, when you have a market that is dysfunctional, any deal that we would put in, because we'd be the only provider of capital, would by definition be better than the non-available capital in the middle of a crisis. So yes, we did offer attractive terms to stabilize the market.
Mr. Chairman, I might note that Warren Buffett weighed into this with billions of dollars. Wells did a deal. There have been dollars done, but those dollars, I believe, are not coming in until the United States quits subsidizing in competition to private sector dollars that would ask for a better return and undoubtedly would say that dividends and excess compensation would have to be curtailed until they were getting their returns. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman, and there was a reason why I voted with the gentleman twice on this same question, the bailout. We now recognize for a period of 10 minutes Mr. Cummings of Maryland. Mr. Cummings, you may proceed with your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kerry, I must say that as I have sat here listening to your answers, I have been disappointed. I think that you have kind of skipped around the issues here, and I say that because when I saw pictures of you, I thought, I said, this looks like a guy that'll be a straight shooter. So I'm going to ask you some questions, sir. And I don't say that trying to embarrass you. I say it because life is short, and I don't have time to hear ring around the rosy answers. Let me go back to something that the chairman said. He talked about how whether you understood that when foreclosures take place, he asked you, did you realize that it also affects the housing in the communities? In other words, you sell a foreclosed house, it's lower price value goes down. Let me ask you this follow-up question to that. You also understand that when price value goes down, local government is affected because it's based upon the tax dollars are based upon that. So, and it just goes on and on and on. So it's a very serious problem that we are dealing with here. And I guess every time I sit in these hearings, I always try to put myself in the position of my constituents who are watching this. Because when I come home, hopefully I'll get home about 3 o'clock today, I live in the inner city of Baltimore, and believe me, when I go to the supermarket tonight, when I go take my daughter to the movies this evening, I promise you people are going to ask me about you. And what they're going to say is, Cummings, we watched the hearing, we heard that guy catch Kerry, but I'm losing my house today. And they're going to ask the question. They're going to say, well, we heard about the Citigroup thing where I've got to be 3 months behind before I can get help. And we heard that guy catch Kerry. We know he's in charge of the $700 billion. What can he tell me today? I do not want a handout. I just want a hand. I want to pay my mortgage. I just need a little help because this Bush administration and its policies has put me in a position where I don't have a job.